thoughts after hitting stop. Questions. Was it a good story?
Uh, yes, but I think it was bare bones, as in like we pinned the little dude doing all of his mischievous stuff like right away, kind of
Right.
shit, and then you had the weird thing with the con guy and her kind of flirting, but then her ex soul love mate dude who was like hell bent on breaking. Like there was just, I don't know, man. That was like going to a party and like the ex and the new guy showed up at the same time and no one knew what to do with it, kind of vibe or something. I
Right.
don't. It's not bad, but at no point were you wowed by anybody or anyone in this show doing anything other than, I guess, average would be the best way to put it. Like no character stood out more than another character, really. Like no actor seemed to outact everybody else, and the story was a beginning to end, but there was no like really crazy way you got to the end or anything like that. You're
Right.
like, oh, we're making a left here. Everybody, get ready for the left.
Um, I don't want to shit on it, but I'm going to shit on it a little bit. First things first, with all of our pausing and playing because of your browser, we were still in exposition at like the 49-minute mark in an hour 30 fucking 5 movie. Like, I was like, we're not even, like, we don't even know what's the goal of the movie, and we're over halfway into this movie. I think that maybe the first thing. Um, you had the only thing Star Trek about this was Rachel Garrett because she's Starfleet, and I realize it's Section 31, but we weren't even on a Section 31 mission. It kind of fell into our, well, I guess they were, and they picked her up. So I mean, I guess that was it. But it's like, if she didn't touch it, it wasn't gonna go off. Also, at the end, she had to biometrically confirm to set it off. So involving her
Oh
was
yeah,
the
well, and they
exact
said
wrong
they
thing to
also like
do.
the fucking bomb said that like the second red dot when it came up. It's like waiting for biometric confirmation,
Confirmation.
pretty
Yeah.
much. It's like
Just
okay,
don't touch
so
it.
yeah, yeah. There was like, and then weird stuff where okay, so they took her down to the underground safe house, but they left the other guy that they were going to interrogate on the ship floating above the planet. Like, why wasn't he dragged down into the giant hole in the fucking ground that you have some cell that you can lock people up in, obviously? Right?
Right.
Like, just dumb shit like that.
Yeah. And the whole sabotage thing and the whole like mole. I don't know. I feel like we contrived the mole scenario to keep the number of people involved in the movie low. Like when you involve a mole and you take your team of 6 or 7 or whatever it was and turn it into one of them's the bad guy, so now we don't have to hire anybody else in to be the bad guy. We just keep this small little group. Now it's like I've spent 35 minutes trying to care about the Vulcan with the Irish accent, and now I'm not supposed to care about him, or I'm supposed to root against him really quickly, all for it to just be for naught because he's going to survive. And also, is this a with that ending? Is this supposed to be a soft start to a Section 31 show, or do we think that Michelle Yeoh's gonna? Because why would you even write the movie that way and the
Well,
ending that
this
way? You
this
know,
is more, I think, of like we made a show, and every year and a half or so, we're gonna pull out a Section 31 hour and a half kind
movie,
of special movie type
right?
deal. And it's going to be that group of guys. And if somebody does get older, it'll just switch, you know. It's going to be like if Doctor Who only did holiday specials. Like
Right.
that's what
Right.
it's going to
So
be.
we're gonna have a series of Star Trek movies that are Section 31 movies as we go down the road.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, we can't make a full-blown show about it for some reason, so everybody seems to be into the secret society of the Trek world. So like, let's drop some Section 31 shit. Because now, I know they kept that group together, but dude, they could do something assholey where it's just them and we see them on a mission, and then the camera's like, here's 6 other fucking people for the next 31 mission that we're gonna be on, you know, kind of
Here's
shit.
people who don't have Oscars and don't charge a
Yeah,
fuck ton of
you
money.
know.
And then you've got Jamie Lee Curtis who's running Section 31. So now you've like, I mean, so you pulled another big name. I don't know anything. I didn't know she was in it at all. Hand to God, didn't know she was in it. You and I recognized a voice at the beginning. We're like, who is that voice? We know that voice. Who is that?
Yeah, I was like, I have watched a documentary and I have heard this goddamn voice before.
I've heard this voice numerous times. Exactly. So it's like, so she's the who was talking to us, and we saw her at the end. So it's like, you've brought. I don't know what this is. I don't know what. I think the biggest problem is I don't know what this is. What is this movie? Because I feel like it was a movie made to do something else, but I don't know what that else is.
Well, and even then, you have like, to me, weird casting choices. Okay, so like an example, the Raiders just hired a new fucking coach, and that jackass is already 72, basically, I think. Something like that. And I'm like, so out of all the NFL coaches in the world, I get it, he's really good and all that stuff, but you couldn't have found someone that was like at least 50 and you signed him to a 3-year contract. And so like even with Jamie Lee Curtis, like she could just wake up tomorrow and be like, I've had enough of this. I've made enough money. I don't need to do this. And I'm not saying that, but it's like, you're old as fuck. So you couldn't have put somebody in their fucking 40s in that position.
Right.
To, you know, because like,
I agree.
We've all seen a movie and we've seen a movie be written and almost get filmed, and then 8 years later it finally comes the fuck out. So like, that's what I'm saying. And like, Trek doesn't seem to have a real good report with being on time, or this is the thing that's actually gonna happen. So I'm going, these people actually may be dead by the time you come around to fucking doing this show again.
Right. So and when it comes to canon and things that are happening, I need an explanation. Like, I mean, and of course we're not going to get it because she was a surprise, but like she had what looked to be Borg implants or some version of like former Borg implants, which I know, you don't know, that we don't meet the Borg yet. So where does she come from? And so it means with Section 31 doing a bunch of like time hopping and shit like that, I mean, she's from the future or who knows, whatever. I don't know. But like, there's a whole lot of like, there's a whole lot to this movie. There's a whole lot. And a whole little.
But there's also a whole lot of nothing.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. There's a whole little too. It wasn't really, we spent a half of the movie just kind of like getting us into whatever the hell the mission, like what we're supposed to be doing. Because Star Trek is, this is what good thing about Star Trek is like, because it's a command structure, military, whatever you want to call it, every episode of Star Trek or every TV show or every movie has a mission and a thing you have to accomplish. And that gets set very early. So you can go, cool, how are we going to accomplish said mission by the end of the runtime? TV show, movie, whatever. This one, we were still learning people because it's a new location. We had to learn people and care about people very quickly, but it still took 49 minutes to even get to the mission. And at that point, we already had a mole, which even you and I were like, it could be the girl that got phasered for no reason. Like, or, maybe she didn't really get phasered. Like, what's happening here? Like, how is this crew I don't know. I don't know. It was a
Yeah,
little bit of
I
a
mean, I
mess.
get it. It's yeah, because Section 31, and I guess maybe this has to do with it being more so like I don't know, because I want to say it's like new Section 31, but with the fact that they do this through fucking time, basically, it's like, is it really new people, new things? So, part of you could go, oh, this is how Section 31 became the Section 31 we know. It was this kind of ragtag group of people who are all clandestine into shit because of all these insane backgrounds they come from. And then
Right.
we get the guy with the glasses later in life who's like, okay, by the way, we sorted out how to control the crazy, so we're a little more organized now. Uh, yeah, right.
Right.
But you
Right.
don't get that vibe. And it would be neat if this did feel like a motley crew of people who were building to something. But like with the fact that the guy already came in and he's like, I'm Section 31 and you knew all, and she's like, yeah, no shit, I saw every one of you. It's kind of this,
Right.
okay, well, you're not being recruited to the cool space secret society, and you're not a new young person that is going to be developed into something within this cool space society. And apparently it's been established, but you're here with, so like, what? All right, cool. Like, what are you trying to tell me then? Like, we have an organization and it just so happened to
Mm-hmm.
be conveniently connected to her for this mission. Understood. But then you left it as a, we formed a group. Why did you form a group?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So take Star Trek out of it. Was it even a fun movie?
Could have been like, and it wasn't. That's the problem. Like, it's not bad, and again, it's
Agreed.
not great in any aspect either.
Not a
So,
bit.
like if my stupid service wouldn't have been dropping every like 8 minutes, it would have been a decent watch, and you would have had all the same questions. And I think if they would have done a better job of making this I don't know, like almost like Men in Black at the beginning, where you see some space alien shit, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. I'm getting into this organization, whether she knew about it or not. Like, we should have seen not her background story for the guy and how she became who. We should have seen the other 31 crew doing some shit that then led them to her. And then if they wanted to throw in the clip of why she's fucking evil as shit, because we already all know that. We don't,
Right. Right.
you know,
Right.
like,
I mean,
we don't
all
need
of
the
her.
background part.
Yeah, it's all of that background was just to show that she's the one that made the device. And I'm like, do I need all of that backstory? And also, on something you said a minute ago, do you feel like this was TV writers trying to write a movie? Because
No.
it's two different things. Writing for TV and writing for movies is an art. Now there are people that I'm sure go back and forth across the genres, but there's a certain way and a certain flow that happens in movies that doesn't have to happen in TV, and vice versa. So do I feel like this is TV writers who were writing for TV, and then Paramount came in and was like, "Hey, this is gonna be a movie. Make it 95 minutes. Have fun."
Yeah, to me, it comes across as not too many hands in the pot, but more like someone else started this, had it going
Oh
for
yeah.
a good chunk of it, and then something happened, pissed somebody off, and they're like, Tom's in, and then Tom comes in and is like, mine carts in space, boys. And they're like, what? We're on a planet right now. He's like, yeah, just blow the ship up and we're going to get on that wrecked one over there. And it's all going to work, and then
Right.
you just get this like soupy mess at the end of it.
Uh-huh. It was very which yes, it was not great by any stretch of the imagination. It was barely good, and that's a Trekkie saying it. And I want to like it. I want Star Trek to continue on whatever media I get. Movies, streaming, I don't care. I'm a Trekkie and I want it. I don't think that was the way to do it. Will I? But I watched it. I watched it. I'm a good Trekkie. I watched it, even after seeing review, and I'm like, I'm one of your numbers. Tick. I watched it. Therefore, you have one stream. You have 135 minutes of extra watch time thanks to me. So, or 195 minutes of watch time thanks to me. So, and another one for you. So it's like we did our job as fans because we need to make sure that Trek gets watched, but it's I don't know. I don't know what that was. And I wish I felt like this was being steered. You know what scared me? What scared me was all of the press that Paramount was actually doing for the movie. And I'm like, you're all are scared no one's going to watch this because you're doing so much press. You're making sure folks watch it, and you're posting Giorgio everywhere, and you're putting a microphone in her face and making her explain this and tell you how much she loves it. Which, if she does, great, because I hope I hope she cuts her rate when she works for us, because she's an Academy Award-winning, amazing actress of decades of fantastic movies and TV, and we need you to pull people who aren't Trekkies. Like we need you to people who like Michelle Yeoh to go, hey, let's check this movie she was out. Because I'm trying to think of somebody who just showed up to that movie. They may have not had to nitpick as much because they didn't care about the Star Trek part of it. They're like, hey, let's watch this for Michelle Yeoh. This is great, and she did a fantastic job. I felt some of the stunts and the fight scenes, the choreography was a little bit robotic to me, but nothing crazy. It still looked like a TV show to me, though. I don't think it felt as grand as a movie should. So, I don't know. I mean, if it was the sets they already had built for the TV show, because all this started as a TV show. So I don't know if it was still the sets they had for the TV show or what. But I don't know what else to say about it. I don't know.
I mean, again, even with the fights, like, again, she's 60 years old.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Is that what she is? Did you Google it right there?
I'm gonna make it as I think she's older than 60 because I remember her saying something about it. Like,
Well,
I'm out there because she was. Well, yeah, she was talking about doing stunts with Jackie Chan and like falling off the back of a semi truck, landing on a fucking car, and she's like, I did that in my 20s, and I'm like, well, that movie was 40 fucking years ago, so
she is 62. So yes, as a 62-year-old, I hope I can move as good as she did in the stunt choreography. Absolutely, I'm with you there. So it's
but even then, again, it's like I hate to do this age thing, but she's 62. So if you want her to be a main character, like being on a basic fucking suicide crew in fucking space every mission isn't the thing for her to be doing. Like, so it would have been different if maybe this episode ended and we saw her take like a delegation role a little bit more, and you're like, all right, cool, I can have her around because she's fucking bossing these people around and what to do and stuff like that. But again, she's 60. You want to make another movie, it's going to be a year and a half to film it, a year post, and fucking 3 years later. So we're at 65. Like, okay, we're going to try to push a third. So you're going to bank she's ready to rock and roll still in her 70s. Like, yeah, let's keep making space movies where I fight.
Right. Exactly. Dude, let me just look this up real quick. The episode of her, the last episode that Giorgio was on was in like
2017,
2018. No. It was 2020 or 2021. That's 4 years ago. Like, what are you doing? Like, you have, like, where are you? You spent 4 years on this? You spent 4 years.
She probably was doing. No, everybody in that show was probably doing other shit.
We know what Michelle Yeoh was doing. She was making Academy Award-winning movies. Yes.
And it's like, they film. You know what it feels like now that you've mentioned this? It feels like that they filmed this over 4 years,
when
but
she was available.
when everybody was fucking available, because everybody on that screen, except for maybe the Irish Vulcan dude, because I don't really recall seeing him in anything else, but everybody else was doing shit, kind of thing. And usually I feel like timelines work out, but this may have been one of those, like, that's why it was a TV show. And they're like, no, we can't
Like
keep
we don't have
everybody
time for that. I
together.
can't.
And they're
Yeah.
like, hey, we're going to make a movie. And then even then, when it got to making the movie, it was like, we can't sync enough people up for this show to
Right.
make any kind of coherent sense, or like that the actors have been together around each other for a while or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, isn't the main dude the augment guy? Is he from like Power or something? Is he from what's he been in? I recognize him from something.
I don't
But
watch enough serious TV to know that.
I know, I don't either. But yeah. So final statements. It was fine.
It was
It
a
was
swing
okay.
and a miss. That's what it
Yeah.
was.
We don't Star Trek can't afford that because they're already behind a paywall and they're already talking about trying to sell Paramount or trying to sell the rights to certain things, and Paramount, I don't know, man, we're on choppy ground already, and I honestly almost want someone else to take the reins other than Paramount, because it's like you guys have had it for decades, and between you and CBS, like, what do you like? You've had a couple of
You know
Strange New
the
Worlds. You had a couple of bangers.
the best thing that could happen for Trek is Hulu or Netflix buy their rights and they turn it into one of their stapled Hulu or Netflix shows. And then they build their universe within it. And I honestly think Trek needs to do this too. Trek needs to pull a DC and go, look, all that shit with Picard and all that other shit, it's canon, but we're just picking up from here and we're going this direction. Like, we're not gonna look back and try to connect these fucking dots anymore. This is basically the Trek formula, and we're just going new people, new shit. And if you see a statue of one of those guys, it's just because it was a history lesson. That's
Right.
fucking it.
Right.
Nothing ties back to any of those cunts in any way, shape, or form. Like, Data doesn't miraculously come back as a CGI superpowered fucking robot that's like, I'm here to solve all your problems in paint. And guess what? I'm gonna hum this tune real quick, and old Picard's corpse is gonna pop the fuck up, and we're gonna go do some 31 shit. Like, no, they're done. They need to Skywalker that shit. Fucking cut it off, get rid of it, and just take the name Trek and then make them like new actors. Write good shit and make them like new actors.
Right. But also don't cancel Strange New Worlds because we love Pike.
Yeah, but it's like that's their one show where they nailed the formula, they nailed the people.
Right.
Okay, that's our, and even then, that is only a section of time. Like, we know how he got
There
there
is
and
a
how he's gonna
finite
go.
end. You
There,
are correct.
it can't go anywhere else.
Right. Right. You're absolutely right.
But I think that's what Trek needs to do, man. Like, they need to just write a new show with fucking Star Trek Spaceship 7, and everyone's like, "Oh, we're in the future of Trek. Okay, cool. Let's just go do exploration. We're not gonna write some grandioso fucking tale connecting the Vulcans and some other goopy fucking soup people to primordial ooze ocean. We're not doing that. We just ran across some weird ass aliens that needed help, and we were like, we can do this. First protocol or whatever rule one is. No, we're not breaking that. Beam our asses down. Let us go fucking help them out."
Right. Well, and on that, I feel like they did that because like with Discovery, they jumped into the future and it was like, cool, we've washed our hands of everything that you know. And that's why Discovery, the last half of it, was really fun because it was all brand new shit we'd never heard of. The things that we knew, we could have ships that had names of people we cared about. But other than that, There was everything we saw about Starfleet was brand new. Every story we heard, every race we ran into, well, not every race, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like every problem we ran into was all brand new, because it's a timeline. It's let's take the world we're in and keep on going. Lower Decks takes place after all of the second chunk of legacy Star Trek, Next Generation, DS9, Voyager. Takes place after all of that. So you have an entire chunk all the way up to the 900 years that Discovery jumped in the future that's unexplored. And we've canceled both of them.
Yeah, well, Discovery needed to be canceled because
I'm
was
not
just
disagreeing with
it,
that.
it was just Jesus in space is fixing everything.
Right.
Like that's and
Because
they
it was
made it
titled
so
wrong. It wasn't
yeah,
Star Trek
yes.
Discovery. It was Star Trek Burnham. Yes.
Yes, and that's what it should have been. It should have been the Burnham show, and we could have stayed in this insulated bubble,
Right.
right? But you're right. They need to take Discovery and go, here's your crew, here's our new ship name, and these people just like Burnham became too important. That was the problem. It
Right.
became so important for that character to exist, breathe, and walk left and right when they needed to every time. And that was the only way that show was going to work because they're like, oh, by the way, we're doing time travel again. Whoops. Right? Like,
Right. We have the Red Angel. Who is it? Michael Burnham.
yeah. And Lower Decks does a great job being its own unique little thing within Trek. Now, if they took that show and it wasn't a comedy cartoon, but took a new crew like that and just was, here's real life space stuff, I think they would have a great show. But
Agreed.
Discovery failed by making it a team thing. Discovery turned it into, here's our lone star and here's all the people they drag along with them.
Correct. I'll completely agree. So we'll see how Paramount handles it. I don't know. But that's it for us. We've watched the movie. We appreciate you guys watching our reactions. That's it. I'm washing my hands of it. I can't fix Star Trek in one recording. I can't do it. So, anyways, thank you for watching this all the way to the end. If you're not subscribed, good on you. Go do that because you watched all of that chitter chatter. Other than that, we appreciate you. We're watching Creature Commandos right now. I can't remember what show's coming up in the next few weeks, but we have a few more shows that are popping up here pretty soon that we're excited about. So when I remember what they are, I'll let you know. Until then, we'll see you guys next time.
See you guys.